Hello and welcome to the Naked Englishman. My name's Richard Vobes and this recording is going out on, I think, it must be the 16th, is it, or 15th or 16th? Oh, I don't know. I'm never quite prepared when I do these things. This is the audio diary of my life, but this is the video also of the diary of my life. And I'm recording this at about, 8:15 in the evening on Friday night. Friday night. I was supposed to be going up to see Harriet this weekend, but I'm not going up to see Harriet because she's not terribly well, and she said it would be a wasted journey. So I've been working today. Also, as a matter of interest, I was supposed to be going to film for a client in Milton Keynes, but it got cancelled. So instead of me being away today, I've taken advantage of the day to work on my YouTube channel. And I realised this being on YouTube, it's open to the public, and that's why the Naked Englishman has occasional videos to sort of introduce the public to me. So I should say this is a very random and not very well produced channel. This is behind the scenes of me, Richard Vobes, and I'm starting a new channel on YouTube called The Vobe Show. And if you've stumbled across this for the very first time, The Vobe Show used to be a podcast, used to be a sort of daily 30-minute comedy-based podcast which commented on things in the news and also looked at all things British, went on mystery tours, and went on looking at murder and mystery and beer tastings and all sorts of wacky things, really. And also, thanks to the lovely viewers, listeners, it being a podcast, went over to America for a couple of years, for a couple of weeks in 2 consecutive years. So this is behind the scenes, and so the Naked Englishman is behind the scenes, and it's kind of raw, which is why it's me gabbling. It's not edited as such, and here we go. So there is a podcast, The Naked Englishman, but it is a subscription. It is a paid-for podcast by my Patreon supporters or by people who pay, or donate rather, directly via PayPal on the nakedenglishman.co.uk website. And if you want to get that, it's kind of a near daily podcast where I talk about what's going on in my life and the challenges that I have, and I've had many challenges, not least losing an eye, and also having my son Billy, who nearly died, having a bleed on the brain where he had a brain hemorrhage, and that was a huge drama. So, and I don't shy away from recording those sort of things. But, you know, there is a certain amount of mundaneness as I try to further my career in entertainment and now YouTube. I mean, I've been trying to sort of do the writing stuff. And actually, yesterday and the day before, I was at a school in West London having fabulous time with children who were reading some of my children's books, and we pretended to be making an audio book, and we set up a kind of a recording studio like this, and they were acting out the parts and reading the narration, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was fantastic to hear kids reading the words that I had fashioned into a children's book, so I loved it, and I'm hoping to do much more of that as well. But at the moment, I'm trying to put the Vobe Show that was a podcast into YouTube, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube, how to make YouTube videos to get some advice. In the past, I've sort of, I suppose, been a bit pompous and thought I don't need any advice because I've been making videos all my life. I've been a filmmaker all my life, and I know how to make films. And yet when I do this kind of stuff, this is so loose that I don't want to have the hassle of the editing bit and making it look good. I want it to look rough. But the Vobe Show, I want it to look right for that. But unlike things like The Bald Explorer, which I have made as a television program, the amount of work, it took 3 months to make one 45-minute episode. And that's because it was a documentary, and that's because it was labours of love, and got people in to help and all that sort of stuff. Whereas the Vobe Show needs to be a regular, fun show But what I'm learning is that you do need to have a niche, because that's how people find you. And I suppose in a way I'm putting this video out because I know this goes out to not just the regular listeners, but also to anybody who's subscribed to the Naked Englishman or stumbles across it on the internet. And that is, those people who know me, I suppose I'm trying to find out what my niche is. The Vobe Show, that was the podcast, had a mixture of real stupidity, silly voices, and madness and craziness and all that sort of stuff, mixed in with interviews with authors, with interesting people, with what we called sound seeing tours, of which I won an award. I'll let you know, back in 2005, I won an award for the best sound seeing tour in podcasts. Mind you, in those days there were not so many podcasts as there are now, but it was I think it was called the People's Award. I don't know where it's gone. I don't have the actual thing, the proof, the little bit of plastic. I had to go to where did I go? I went to Chuck Tomas's place to pick it up, and it was I remember he'd put it in his loo, and I had to fish it out of the bowl of his toilet to pick. If my memory is correct, is that right, Chuck? Is that what I did? He was doing a pod. I don't even know now if Chuck still does his podcast show. It's a long time ago. Anyway, so I got to find a niche for the Vobes, because I was a sort of an everyman. And I've been trying a few shows, and there's two that have yet to come out. They come out on Monday. In fact, my regular listeners, my Patreon listeners, they get them in advance, of course. So they would have got one about my special hotel survival kit. You'll find out more about that if you check out the Vobe Show video YouTube channel. I know what I'm talking about, just can't get the words out. And so I'm not really sure what my niche should be and how to achieve that. You'll see that if those of you who've seen the Vobe Show will know that I changed the studio around a bit here. I've just painted the back wall. I've got rid of the Union Jack flag, which... Oh, sorry, I've just bashed the microphone. I haven't got rid of it because I'd like to use it somewhere, but I don't know. The television isn't on doing its monitoring stuff. And yeah, I've just been painting that because I felt the studio space, the background was thrown together really just to try stuff out. It was a mess. It was a mess. And the Vobe Show went for nearly 10 years, and it took the first year before I got comfortable with the show and that it grew. And I suppose by about year 4 or 5 was its real peak. It did sort of begin to flatline and peter out, and I think everybody will agree, even the regular listeners will agree, it wasn't as good. But every now and again there was a good one. There was this complete and utter madness that would come out of me. And I kind of want to have the Vobe Show to be more mad and more zany and a bit wacky, but I don't know how that will go down, or how you sell that, or how is that what people want? I don't know whether people are looking for somebody crazy. I was thinking, do I comment on the news? There's so many bad things in the news at the moment, and I'm not up to speed. I'm not really good with politics. I mean, I have my own politics, of course, who doesn't? But what I mean is, there's so many, I'm not well versed. There's so many people who are incredibly well versed in. I was looking at the machine. I thought for a second I wasn't recording the sound. I do apologise. So I'm not. I could argue something. I could be completely wrong. It would be just passion. It's like the everyman. It's like a bloke in a pub coming up with something. So I'm not. I just don't know where the niche is, and this is what's driving me mad at the moment. And if you listen to the Naked Englishman podcast, you'll hear me sort of coming up with ideas and losing ideas and talking about what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, the Naked Englishman is really therapy. It's where I dump my worries and my woes in many times. And the Vobe Show should be the reverse of that. It should be the exciting, fun, thrilling, goodness knows what. But the gurus on YouTube said, get your niche, because if you were doing a fishing show, people know what it is. A cooking show, they know what it is. a tech show. They know what it is. I've never done a niche show. It's always been a bit of a magazine show and a bit of this and a bit of that thrown in with hopefully personality. But I haven't yet worked out my on-screen personality. So that's where I am. That's what I'm working on. I'm keeping these videos relatively short, whereas you get more in the podcast. I think that just makes sense and all that. And so that's where I am. I'm trying to get one of these out every week, a Naked Englishman. Ultimately, the Vobe Show I'm aiming to get out 2 to 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays would be good, but I'm starting slow on that. So the early shows are going to be rubbish. They are going to be embryonic. Whereas the Naked Englishman show is just what it is. It's just this raw bit of waffle of where I am now, what I'm doing. But if you'd like to get the podcast, this is effectively my sales tool to the podcast to try and bring people in to the daily listen, and you can listen to a podcast. If you don't listen to podcasts, you don't know what you're missing, really. You can listen to them on the headphones here, and it's so much better than actually having to see me, I believe. But I do have quite a nice number of listeners, and they're dedicated, and they support me, which is great. So if you're one of those, and I hope you are, and you're watching this too, and you have an idea, because sometimes, I think other people, they know what they see. They know what they see in me. Sometimes you don't see your own skills or your own advantages. Other people, I've been doing this long enough to realise that other people know you better than yourself many times. And they will. So I'm hoping that you guys, the people who know me, you guys say, hey, what it is, your niche is this. This is what you should be concentrating on. That's your strength. And that's what I would appreciate. So you tell me what it is not so much do a fishing show, because I don't know the first damn thing about fishing, but you may say, this is I see this is where you should be. And that would be really helpful. I may not do it because I'm sometimes I'm a bit pig-headed and headstrong, is that the word? And I don't always do what I should do, but I do listen to the advice and I do take it in. So, do let me know, either in the comments on the Naked Englishman channel, or on an email, richard@vobes.com. That'd be great. And the rest of the weekend, because I'm not going up to Harriet's, I'm going to work on trying to, fathom out who I am. So the sooner you can get the comments to me, the better. It really will help. And then I can serve you better. I can bring you on the Vobe Show the stuff that you see that I do well doing. Is that a deal? That would be great. That would be fantastic. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, goodbye.